Okay, so today I'm going to go over the number one supplement for any gym rat and something that I think, honestly, like 99% of people should be taking. Let's get into it. So, quickly, I do just want to say I'm not your doctor, so you make your own medical decisions on what you're going to do. I'm just going to tell you facts along with my opinion. So, the supplement in question today is going to be creatine. Now, more specifically, creatine monohydrate, because there are different types of creatine, but creatine monohydrate is the one that is the most studied and has shown the most promise and results in studies. So, quickly, just so you know, creatine monohydrate is literally the most studied supplement that there is. Creatine is something that is naturally in our foods and something you like naturally are getting. So it's not like you're taking something exogenous that wouldn't naturally be in your body. Like I don't think this is the highest creatine food, but I know a food that is high in creatine is like salmon and fishes. So like if you've ever had a fish, you've had creatine just in smaller doses. Supplementing with it allows you to get it in larger doses, which I'll quickly get into. Typically, you're going to want to take around 5 grams daily. There is something called like a loading phase you can do. I don't really see the point of it. A loading phase would be where you take, I think it's like 20 grams a day for like a week and your body saturates faster. So you could do that if you want, I guess. I personally didn't do that, but that's more of like a personal decision. So why on earth should you be taking creatine? So in terms of, also if you see me looking this way, it's because I'm looking at my laptop. I have some notes on there. So for your performance and strength, like in the gym specifically, you're going to have an increased power output. So you'll be able to lift a little heavier if you're running, sprint a little faster, and you'll be able to replenish ATP faster. And so things like that. You'll also be a little bit stronger, like I said. Your muscles are going to recover maybe slightly faster. It might help with like some reduced inflammation. So those are ways it helps in terms of strength. I will say personally, I noticed probably like I feel like the best way I would describe the gains that I noticed from it would be like when you're progressively overloading and you go from, let's just use like bench, for example. Let's say 1 week you're benching 225, next week you're trying to push it and go to 230. I feel like I got the equivalent of like a week or two jump worth. So like I added like 5-10 pounds to like most of my lifts. It's hard for me to exactly remember because I've been taking creatine for 2 or 3 years now. So like it's been a while. So that's what I remember. Like creatine is not something where you're going to go from benching 135 to 225 in a week when you start taking creatine. Like that's not going to happen. But it will help you with those, as I said, like modest improvements. But that's not the only reason you can take creatine. It also helps with muscle growth because what it does is it increases the amount of water being drawn to your muscles. And your muscles specifically, because I'm going to go over a creatine myth in a second. But so basically, think about it this way, right? Muscles. You have my bicep here, right? There's cells in my bicep. The cells in your body need water. Now, when you start taking creatine, the cells will start asking your body for more water, which is why you need to stay diligent about being hydrated when you're taking creatine. Side note. But so with that, let's think about it logically. If my bicep had, let's just say, 10 ounces of water, definitely not the actual amounts, but we're just going to use easy numbers here. And now I start taking creatine, and this is not the exact amount of increase of water retention, but let's say now I have 20 ounces of water in my arm. You can imagine that my bicep would now look bigger with that much more water in it. So with that being said, like you're going to notice some increased size. Now, one thing that is such a misconception about creatine is bloating. You will not bloat when you take creatine because people just hear water retention, which there is water retention from creatine, but it's not going to be like bloating, which is a different type of water retention. This is intramuscular, so it is in your muscles. It's not going to be just like your stomach. Obviously, there will probably be some extremely minor water retention in your abs because guess what? That is a muscle, so there will be some version of intramuscular water retention there, but it's not going to be enough that like would be considered like, or you'd look at and say like, oh, that person is bloating. Like it's not going to be like that. So let's see. Over time, creatine users generally gain more lean muscle mass than non-users. So that's another thing. I don't remember knowing that one. That's why I did some research for this. But so over time, if you're taking creatine, you'll be able to put on a little bit size. Now, everything I've said so far has been gym related. The next tip is why I think everyone should be taking creatine, because it has cognitive benefits. You know what cognitive means? It means this thing up here, your brain. So, in terms of it, creatine has the ability to fight against mental fatigue. So that typically is more like sleep-deprived mental fatigue, but it will help you just have better short-term memory and quick thinking, and under stress you'll perform better. So basically, let's say you're under stress, or you only get a couple hours of sleep one night, maybe you get 5 hours and you're used to your 8, right? You're just going to perform better the next day. Let's say at work, you're going to feel a little bit less tired and fatigued. You're going to be able to think a little bit quicker, because it's obviously not going to offset these effects. But the way I would compare it is, because I remember noticing this effect one day where I took creatine on a day where I was sleep deprived, and I felt it had about the equivalent effect of drinking like half a cup of coffee, if that kind of makes sense, where you just feel like that little bit like sharper, more locked in, more focused. That was like the effect that I felt. Now, that is obviously not anything scientific. That's anecdotal data from me. That's just what I felt. Maybe for you, you'll feel less or more. I don't really know. That's up to you. Now, creatine also has neuroprotective abilities. So it'll help the brain with energy metabolism, protect against neurological diseases, and like the examples that it gives are like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And I don't even care if it's like 0.5% of protection against these things. I will immediately be taking, like, I will continue taking my creatine just for those reasons alone. If you told me I could take 0.5% of the likelihood that I get Alzheimer's or Parkinson's down, I'm 100% going to do that. Those are two things that I do not want to have. So I'm going to do everything in my power to not get those things. So the other things that it said that I did not know these at all. So this is cellular and health benefits. It can improve glucose tolerance, which I did not know. So it'll enhance insulin sensitivity and glucose uptake within cells within the body. That was something I actually didn't know. It can help preserve muscle mass, which also, if you just think about it, if you're able to slightly put on more lean mass and have more lean mass, if you have more lean mass, when you lose lean mass, it'll be a little bit slower because there's more to lose. It'll help along with strength, as I said. So that can be some of the benefits for like older people. If you're maybe someone, maybe you're watching this, you want to give it to your parents or whatever, have them start taking it so that they don't lose muscle mass and can have their strength later into their life. And apparently there's some potential mood supports, which I've never heard this. This was something new to me. But some evidence suggests creatine may support mood and reduce symptoms of depression when paired with other treatments. So because it's paired with other treatments, I will say take that definitely with a grain of salt, because it didn't really specify what those treatments were. But let's say it's like exercise. Exercise is already something that can fight against depressive symptoms. So take that last one with a grain of salt. Now, I've talked about all of the benefits of creatine. Now, let me tell you quickly how to take it, how expensive it is, where you can get it, and things like that. So, as you can see on screen right now, creatine, it's literally just like this white powder. You take a scoop, put it in. It's easy. I take it with the greens drink I do in the morning, mix them together, drink it with I do 16 ounces of water. I'm doing 2 different powders together, but it's very easy to take. It's pretty much tasteless. There's a marginal difference when you mix it with water, but it's not going to be something where you're going to drink it and dislike the taste, really. It'll just taste a little weird. Not weird. Weird's not the right word. It just tastes a little different. It almost tastes like a different brand of water, if that makes sense. Where you go from a Poland Spring to an Aquafina, and then if you tasted water with creatine, it would almost taste like a different brand of water that you just were unfamiliar with. So basically, it's very easy to take. They do make gummies. I've had them before. Gummies are tasty. I think it is a little more expensive to do gummies. I don't know the exact pricing for that. I do know for monohydrate, you can typically get a tub, which will be somewhere between 30 or 50 servings, anywhere around 30, 25, 30 bucks. If you guys want, if you click the link for my Bucked Up link in the description, you can go to Bucked Up site and get their creatine. I forgot the price, but I believe you'll get 20% off. So whatever the price is, take that off. I think it's somewhere around 25 bucks. So take that little bit of a discount off, probably be somewhere in the 18 to 20 bucks range. So pretty good deal. But yeah, creatine is literally the safest supplement there is. It is the most studied. If I'm I don't know where I'm getting this number from. I just vaguely remember it. I think there's somewhere like 1,000 to like 1,200 studies on creatine. Like, it is safe. If you've heard the hair loss myth, that was only found in literally one study and has never been replicated. If you know anything about science, if a result cannot be replicated, it is not scientific in that sense. Because to have a scientific result, it has to be replicable by other people, or at least by yourself. And that study has never been duplicated. So don't really have to worry about that. But if you're talking about negative side effects, there really aren't any other than the fact you need to stay hydrated with it. I would recommend, this is my personal opinion, drinking at least a gallon of water a day. That was the recommendations I've typically heard for someone who's taking creatine. For me, that's very easy. I drink a lot of water. For you, that might be difficult, but then just stay on top of it because you don't want to dehydrate. Because with all that water staying intramuscularly now, it can't be used for other bodily processes. So you just need to keep an eye on that. But outside of that, like I haven't ever noticed the downside. I hope I've convince you to take some creatine, because I really do think it'll benefit you. I really can't think of a reason you wouldn't want to take creatine. Maybe you can show this to someone else, get them to start taking it. But hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and catch you next Sunday at 5 p.m. Catch you there.